Hi everyone, my name is Yvonne Lin. Today I'd like to share my journey through the VSC 210 shape module. For the first project, I want to start by sharing four different examples of how products are designed for specific purposes. First is the famous souvenir, the Taiwanese blue and white slippers. As a souvenir, it transforms a cheap everyday object into a cultural symbol that connects with people's memories and identity. Second is the leopard cat banana. By linking pesticide-free farming with the protection of Taiwan's endangered leopard cat, the campaign successfully appeals to environmentally conscious consumers who are willing to pay at a higher price. Third, moving to a completely different strategy, is a wartime recruitment poster from World War II featuring a visually appealing female figure. These posters were designed to draw attention and influence people, demonstrating how design can be used as a persuasive and sometimes manipulative tool. Finally, we have cigarette warning labels. In many countries, they require tobacco products to display graphic images showing the consequences of smoking. So, unlike the previous examples, these designs intentionally use fear and disgust to discourage consumption and uh, encourage a change in behavior. Ultimately, these examples show how we can adjust our visual strategies for different target and audience to capture their attention and promote a product. For my first project, I focus on people between age 25 and 35. Through my research, I found that many people within this age group face financial pressure, uncertainty about the future, and concerns about personal success. As a result, many turn to social media for comfort or distraction. However, these platforms often use algorithms designed to trigger comparison and insecurity as these as they keep users engaged for longer. This became the starting point for my project and led me to thinking lead me to thinking how design could make these hidden mechanisms more visible and provide users with greater control over their online experience. During my research, I started paying attention to the type of content that social media platforms tend to promote. I noticed that posts that show ideal lifestyles, wealth, or personal success often receive the most attention. This made me realize that users are constantly exposed to content that will influence how they think and feel, often without recognizing it. As a result of that, people can easily become trapped in a cycle of comparison and insecurity. Therefore, I began to wonder whether a tool could help users recognize the hidden mechanisms behind the feeds and perhaps regain control over their online experience. These became the key problem I wanted to solve. To better understand this problem from the user's perspective, I created an empathy map to explore what users think, feel, see, hear, and do while using social media. This helped me identify their key frustrations and needs. From this, I developed a clear goal to provide transparency of awareness and control by helping users recognize what is hidden behind their feeds. This is a design toolkit I use to better understand my target users and their daily routine. It helped me identify situations where people are more likely to be affected by anxiety-driven content. This stimulation shows that people are more likely to get triggered when they're bored, stressed, or feeling insecure. Based on these insights, I developed the idea of a social media filter. The aim is to help users recognize these anxiety-driven marketing tactics and become more aware of content certain polls are trying to influence them. Upon further research, I found two key insights. Younger adults are experiencing increasing mental health challenges, especially with the rise of living unre unrealistic social expectations. Together, these findings help explain why people within this group age may be more vulnerable to stress and comparison. To address these issues, I designed 4 key features for the app. Firstly, an auto tag system that highlights uh, potential tactics such as well signaling and appearance marketing. Secondly, an anxiety meter that alerts users when content may be designed or trigger emotional reactions. Third, a disclosure feature that reveals a hidden advertising or other persuasive technique behind a post. And finally, feed controls that allow users to reduce or completely switch off algorithm-driven recommendations. Together, these features come together to create a simple and user-friendly interface. This page shows the final product display on an iPhone. The final design translates my idea into an app that creates transparency, user control, and greater awarenesses of how social media content may influence emotions and behavior. These features work together to help users better understand and manage their online experience. To conclude this part, my goal was not simply to block content, but to make social media more transparent and manageable. By increasing transparency, awareness, and and the project encourages a more conscious relationship with social media and contributes to a more ethical digital environment. Moving on to the second part of the module, I decided to work on illustration brief aimed at children between age 5 to 14. The challenge was to design an element wall that was both educational and engaging, while also considering accessibility, different eye levels, and the need of a wide age range. Before I started designing, I first needed to understand what an element was. Since I grew up in a BC Asian city, it was a concept I had never encountered before. Through my research, I realized that elements are allotments are much more than places for growing vegetables. They are spaces where communities come together, connect with nature, and learn from one another. This encouraged me to think beyond creating a simple garden illustration and consider how I could design a more meaningful experience for the audience. One interesting thing I discovered is that in dense cities such as Taipei and Hong Kong, people have created rooftop allotments. Although they take a different form, they share the same goal of bringing communities together through gardening and nature. This helped me realize that the project was not simply about illustrating a garden, but also about conveying the experiences and value that allotments create for people. After understanding the allotment itself, I wanted to better the children I was designing for. I read several articles on child learning to explore what captures a child's attention. One idea that stood out to me was the use of animal characters. These characters can make the content feel more engaging and memorable while encouraging curiosity and exploration. These This later became an important influence on my design. This is the empathy map I created for the allotment display. I try to manage the experience from a child's perspective, considering what they might see, hear, think, and feel while exploring the space. This helped me understand that children are constantly surrounded by many distractions, such as visitors, sound activities, and the artwork itself. Therefore, the key design challenge is how to maintain their attention and encourage them to stay engaged for longer. Building on the empathy map, I used the 5 whys method to explore why a child might walk away after just a few seconds. This made me realize that attracting attracting attention was not enough. Children also needed reasons to keep exploring the artwork. As a result, I designed different layers of engagement for different age groups. Younger children can look for hidden animals characters and interactive objects, while older children can look for more detailed visual stories and hidden elements through the illustration. I also decided to include animal characters throughout the scene by giving the animals personalities and roles within the story. I hope to make the artwork feel more engaging and memorable for younger audiences. Finally, I incorporated the required 3D elements in the strategy, allowing children to interact with the project in a more hands-on and immersive way. As part of my visual research, the Gintama exhibition I went to inspired me to think about how large visuals, colors, and character-focused display can capture attention. These are my initial sketches where I began exploring the overall layout and key features of the allotment wall. At this stage, I experimented with different ideas, including an underground section that was later removed from the final design. These sketches helped me test the overall composition and decide which ideas should be developed further. The digital prototype allowed me to begin developing the visual style of this project. At this stage, I introduced a group of animal characters working together within the allotment environment. By giving the animals human characteristics and personalities, I hope to make the artwork feel more approachable and engaging for children. This prototype helped me test whether the characters felt friendly, memorable, and suitable for the final design. This is the final outcome from my project. The artwork transforms a 4.6-meter wall into an interactive environment filled with characters, stories, and details for children to discover. Through the animal characters, bright color theme, and hands-on elements, the design transformed nature education into a playful and engaging experience. By encouraging exploration and curiosity, it invites children to learn through experience rather than direct instruction. So looking back, the biggest lesson I learned from the shape module was the importance of empathy in design. Whether I was designing for social media users or children, research and empathy always helped me understand their needs. To sum up, the most important lesson I learned is that good designs always begin with understanding the audience. And that's all for my presentation. Thank you for listening.